I took an entire psychology class in college just to understand these 7 principles that I'm going to share with you now. I promise that after this video, you will know the principles of psychology in general, to know what psychology speaks about. Most importantly, you will know how psychology actually can implement in your life, and what are the stuff that you can actually use from psychology in your daily life. I promise there's a lot of stuff that it will be interesting. The way that I'm going to do it, I'm going to give you the stories first, then I'm going to give you the lessons, and I'm going to add secrets of mine. So going through psychology in college was interesting. Going through psychology as well was interesting, because there's this similarity between them, because humans have physical, social, and psychological life. I'm not gonna get through the physical life as much because I'm gonna focus now more on the psychological. So I remember once we got into the classroom of psychology, we started off learning about the stages and how really humans' psychology is something that gets developed over time. It's not just it's not one thing that you get developed only when you grow up or something. And literally psychology, there is psychology of people that are literally in the womb. They're not even birthed yet. So babies, not even birthed yet. They're not even born yet. So they say literally the development also affects them. It's they at certain point they hear more, they hear sounds. They can feel if someone is touching them, touching the area and stuff like that. And they actually feel if their parents love them. This was interesting part. I'm okay, that's cool. Then the psychology speaks about when they're born. Is there their parents want them, don't want them? Is there a celebration? Is there anything? Is there the family gathering? Although they don't remember it, it affects the psychology. This remembers me of one of the greatest, I'm pretty sure this is a very factual thing. They say that, we really didn't study it, but I would say it is. They say actually psychology, most people get developed in the first 6 years. You don't remember what happened in the first 6 years of your life, but really that what developed you into you, which makes a lot of sense actually. All right. So then we go through all of the stages of young people. So you go through the first stage, they're pretty weak, they only know their parents, stuff like that. Then they get scared of other people, no socializing, nobody, they know no one but their parents. Then 6 months, 7 months, they might discover that there's more people to the world. And it's kind of they just grow. Cool. There's also I can speak about how they can speak and at the beginning, they just cry if they want anything, or they feel hurt or whatever, they're hungry, whatever. Then they might laugh a little bit, Then they might say mama, papa, whatever, papi, whatever you want to whatever he says. After that, they might, make some words. They don't make any sense. After that, they make some sentences, probably just all random. Then they might make some simple phrases, few words. Then they can make complex, not complex, long phrases. It's very interesting. And also you see when as they grow and they found out a lot of stuff. And there's also early childhood, etc. You see also teacher was talking to us about she's a professor in psychology, and she was spoken about the other stages as well. It's and look, everything will make sense. You're why are you speaking about child psychology? No, everything makes sense. Because you have to understand where are you in the timeline to really know what to do and what not to do and whatnot. So you realize that it comes that childhood, where the child socialized with more people, and they realize that there's a lot of babies just like him, in elementary school and stuff like that. He starts learning, He can pick up, he can do a lot of stuff. Then we get to teenage years. Teenage years is pretty hard psychology lesson. Teenage years, I remember we were speaking about like the differences, like the changes that happens, whether that be in physically, psychologically, socially, really everything. Like they get taller, they get bigger, they get wider, they get stronger. There's a lot of changes that happen in the body, which makes changes psychologically. Well, there's this thing that also like the teacher was spoken about, which is like masturbation. She said like, well, that's one thing also that is in teenagers. I didn't expect that to be in like the lesson, but it was. So I'm not normalizing anything, by the way. All right, I'm not normalizing anything. I'm just speaking literally what the teacher said. I'm not with. I think it's not good. And actually, I think that the professor should have explained it more, honestly. So like everybody can be able, like, because once you think about it, like if we don't speak about it, nobody will. Right? I study in nursing college. Like if we don't speak about it, nobody will. I'm pretty sure. So like you have to be very like knowledgeable about it to really be able to speak, because it's something. All right, let's let it at that. If you want to make an entire video about it, sure, I would do it. Type it down. Well, if you're not, sure, I'm gonna pass. So then you're gonna get to like people getting an early adulthood after teenage years. They can also get some existential crisis, like some depression, more like that. Existential crisis. This sounds like Elon Musk speaking. Like depression or something like that in teenage years. It's all about the changes, like the changes physically, psychologically, mentally, for men and women, like the same thing. There's early adulthood where that is like the changes of responsibilities. You used to become reliant on your parents and stuff like that, and you start to become reliant on yourself, whether that building your career, building yourself, building whatever. There's also adulthood, which means like you start gaining more responsibilities, family life, stuff like that, work. Really, that's it. It's like, and there's also like late adulthood. This is just I made up, but like late adulthood, it's like people start growing up and stuff like that. So the maturity just completed. Now you get old age. So old age can be lonely sometimes, and also it will all make sense in a second, all right? Because I'm gonna go back to the big points. It can get lonely, and also like people can old people can suffer from physical problems, vision problems. Like we're talking about movement and stuff like that. Now, I think what's interesting about psychology is more than like the lifespan psychology. I think it's more of like the day-to-day life basis, because this gives you an entire good looking bird eye view. But like, all right, like let's say I am early adulthood, or I'm an adult. I'm pretty an adult. Like, yeah, that's cool, but it just doesn't help me. Now we're going to the micro psychology. When it comes to the micro psychology, for me, it's like, I'm gonna make an example here with the book called Persuasions. Very good book. I just read it like 2 months ago. It speaks about how can you persuade everybody. It's like if you are in the house and nobody's listening to your decisions, like you don't make decisions, probably that book is for you. Same thing is if you want to persuade, so you want to sell and stuff like that. And also if you just want to be heard, you don't feel as like you're heard enough. That's a pretty good book. It speaks about how really like you should always give reasons to people, and really like if you ask anything, there's a high chance, there's like 60% chance or something that you will actually get it. Even in the 4-Hour Workweek speaks about it. It says like you just have to learn. There's someone that is a comfort challenge. There is a challenge in the 4-Hour Workweek that tells you like you have to ask for like 10 things that you know that you will get a no. It's weird. It's like, stuff that you know you would, like, you think you will get a no. that's a challenge. He speaks about this story of someone that did it. He said, 1 month I'm gonna just be asking the random stuff that I know they will say no. And he was speaking like so excited. He's like, I got the weirdest of things. I was asking all the time and never got a no. He says, I got burger refill. I got some weird stuff. Like, the thing is, like, most people are fine. Like, most people don't care. Just like ask you, they prefer to do the thing than to get into the argument of saying no. You see? I think this is also like a big one in terms of that. But also, like, you want to give reasons in most cases, like to higher your chances. Like, you give just a simple reason. It's like, you see that there's Harvard did this study that says like 60%, you can get 60% of times ahead of the line in any line if you just gave a reason, right? So it's like, oh, I just really like have my cat sick, I want really to get in the line so I can go back to her. Probably they will say yes, or anything, you know. And it's not only with lines, it's really like with everything. I did this video about 3 years ago, which was a Moroccan video. It's like the Penny series that Ryan Trahan does, but it was Moroccan. It was like Moroccan Arabic language and stuff like that. It was like one video. There's currency differences, there's differences, but whatever. I went and it did like the same concept really. I went to people and I'm like, oh, do you want to buy this pen for like $1? So the thing is, you have to comprehend, like when you're doing it in Morocco, it's the currency perceived value is not the currency perceived value in the US. $1 is $1 in the US, but $1 is like $10 in Morocco. We're talking about the perceived value, because the national coin or the currency is the dirham, which is $0.1. You understand? Which is like a good representation actually for the country's economy. You know what I mean? So you want that to keep that in mind. So when you're asking, is like you're asking people to buy a pen with like $10. I wouldn't say that, honestly. But I would say it's harder than selling a pen with $1. Just to give you a very worldwide example. Alright, cool. And I asked like the first people and was like, cool. I gotta give you. And it was like, what? This is crazy. Second people were like, yes. I saw like, I don't remember how many people, like 5 or something. And it was like all over the place. I think, how is this even possible? The pen is worth $0.1. And I sold it with 10 times the price. Just because I was given a reason. So really, like, I still study that video until this day. Like, I was with a great network of mine, great friend, best friend, content creator, awesome man. He's now in Europe creating content. And we did that, and really, like, he didn't question, because I filmed him, like, the first day. We did his version, now we do mine. So we were all, like, everyone is doing his thing. But like everybody that I told them before that, they were like, this is impossible. Like, there is no way. My mother was like, are you crazy? I was like, this is not gonna work. One best friend was like, dude, no. It's like, you're just wasting time at this point. And they're right. It's like true. I probably would say that too. But like, you know, nobody knows like you know. And also sometimes you just have to blind believe. I just blinded believing, you know. And it was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, dude. Somebody will just believe that it's gonna work. And it worked so awesome. Like, it worked so good. Which shows us a lot about psychology. Like, really, I would say here, I'm gonna give something, this is not academic at all. I'm gonna give the chapter from Think and Grow Rich, Auto-Suggestion. There was a conference that was held by the right hand of Bill Gates, speaking about. They asked him like, what's the secret? You know, he said you have to have healthy habits. They were like, all right, healthy habits, like doing sports and eating healthy. He was like, breathing good. They were like, what? And he said mantra. I'm pretty sure it's mantra. It's like what you say to yourself. You know. It's like what you say to yourself when you're alone. It's like that inner dialogue. It has to be positive. You have to say to yourself good stuff. You know? And people find it weird. It's like that and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, he's the right hand of Bill Gates and he speaks about this. Now, when you see Think and Grow Rich, he speaks about this so awesomely. And like the second or third chapter, he speaks about autosuggestion, which is really like what you suggest to your mind. It's like you suggest to yourself. So, as an example, you have an exam. So you might as well just say to yourself, I'm awesome. I know math. I'm great at math. I get 20 out of 20 in math every single time. I study all the math. I understand all the lessons, stuff like that. It's better than be like, I'm so bad at math, dude. With your brain, nobody's here. I'm so bad at math. I have no clue about what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try. I don't know. No, you shouldn't do that. There's a good lesson also from The Matrix, the movie. He says, Neo is fighting with the guy, like the Matrix guy. They were fighting, and he stopped and he said, look, stop trying to hit me and hit me. I really watched the entire movie just for that shot. Like 2 shots, that's it. Yeah, like a few months ago. But the thing is, like, I really do think that. I so many times I sit with myself and I like stop trying to hit me and hit me. It's like stop trying and do it. And so many times like I find myself I'm gonna say I'm gonna try this, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this. Every time that I say I'm gonna try, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I do this. I don't try this. It's different. So there's a lot of stuff that you can actually get from this. However, going back to Think and Grow Rich, one of the greatest books of all time of entrepreneurship, written by Napoleon Hill, who spent 22 years writing, studied 25,000 people. It's pretty sick. Is also like the unconscious mind, and how like you have to feed him positive energy instead of feeding him the negative thoughts. Like negative energy will literally screw your mind. Like will literally make your life not good, And it doesn't matter if it comes from you, if it comes from other people. It's like if you have people are around you that are always complaining, make sure to go away from those. It doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter who it is. Make a barrier and just stay away. Or do this, like one thing from the 4-Hour Work Week. He didn't intend to explain it like this, but I'm going to use it here. Stay away for 1 day. Stay away for a week. Or tell them, this was also mentioned in Think and Grow Rich. He said, tell them what you think if you don't want to break up. Tell them, it's like, look, you're actually complaining a lot. You're giving me a lot of negative thoughts. That's something that I don't accept. It's just, I don't mess with that. I don't want that. So, I'm going to give you a chance, right? So, we don't just end everything. I'm going to give you 1 week. Get back for half an hour. If you're still like this, I'm going to say, I'm going to never talk to you. And if you are like actually like not negative, I'm going to speak to you. 1 week, come back, half an hour, nothing more, and decide if you're going to continue or not. And the moment he comes back to his negative thoughts, break up. So, obviously, a lot of these concepts are very interesting to me. I think one of the most important, actually, like probably the most important of all the concepts that I just mentioned here, that I didn't mention, like they were mentioned in the book, is actually the concept about desire. He speaks about desire as something that most people don't comprehend. He says, when you have desire, it's not only you want something or you like something. Like, everybody likes money, but the people who wants it most get it. It's like when you want it, you want it. It's like, what are you willing to do in order for you to get it? You really, really want it. So what are you willing to get, to let go of in order for you to get it? That's what's desire. And he says, look, if you want to have a strong desire, which is required for success, you have to mix it with emotion. Like, mix it with some sort of emotion. Be emotional about it. You understand? Yeah, I was like, just be emotional about it. And it, because it will fuel not only you, but it will fuel your unconscious mind too. Your unconscious mind speaks emotions. Like, it doesn't speak thoughts. I like Bugatti, sure. Do you want it? I really want it. Why? That why is emotion. People call it why. They like, you have to know your purpose. Like, shut the fuck up. Just put in emotions. I really believe that now if you want to read the book, you have a great idea. But other than that, look, as I promised, now you understand the entire psychology. It's like, I give you all what we read in psychology. I added books from psychology. Now you comprehend psychology. You understand, like, if you want to read about psychology more, or even to take it as a class in college, now you have great information. And the good thing about it is you don't need anything external. You literally can do it now. And what you've seen, you can never unseen. So might as well subscribe.